Hi, this is Peter with CalcBook, and today we're going to be looking at the new features just released in CalcBook version 2. So the first thing that we've done is we have created CalcBook LoadPath, which allows you to link your loads between different calculations. So not only can you link loads from one beam to another beam, but you can also link the reactions of a beam into a component calculation, so a well design or a shear tab or something like that. We've also released a new project browser. This allows you to create various projects with calculations in them. It visually shows you what calculations are linked together and gives you an overall snapshot of your projects and calculations. We've also added an interactive and hyperlinked table of contents within each calculation, so you can search for specific terms and you can go directly to that calculation. We've also continued to enhance our PDF reports, providing just clear and sharp figures, outputs, better equations, and overall better reports for you to deliver to your clients. As part of the project browser system, we have new shareable project files. These are new file types that contain all of your calculations. So you can store these in your company server, or you can share them with other colleagues, and they can just simply open the project file, and they'll have all of the calculations contained inside of it. And the last thing we've done is we've released CalcBook on Mac. So if you have a Mac, you can go ahead and download and use CalcBook as well. So let's go ahead and open up CalcBook and let's take a look at these new features. When you open CalcBook version 2, you'll be greeted with a new welcome screen. You can start a new calculation, go to a project browser, or open existing CalcBook files. So let's start with our project browser. So we've got a new project browser here. You've got all your projects here on the left side. You can click through. You can see all of your different calculations that you have within this project, and you can also see the different load linking attached to each different calculation file. So we'll talk more about load linking in a minute, but if we want to just look at our different project browser options here, right, we can create a new project, we can open an existing project file, or we can actually just scan our company folder for existing CalcBook projects, and they'll automatically populate with all of the calculations. Within our project, we can add a new calculation. We can either add a new calculation directly to our project, or we can just create an independent calculation and save that directly to our computer. We can also add existing CalcBook files into our project. We can edit our project information, right? We can edit the name, our project number, information about it, and then where that CalcBook project file is stored. So let's go ahead and take a look at load linking. So we're in a beam design module here, and we have a new button called Manage Links. When we open this, we can create our CalcBook LoadPath links. So we can either go for a member design or to a component design. So we click on member, right? We'll have our source beam, which is the beam that we're using to take reactions from and send the loads to. And then we have our target beam. So we can send our loads to a beam, we can send our loads to a column, and then we can either select existing files that are in our project, or we can create a new file that will go automatically into our project, or we can browse for an external file on our operating system somewhere. We can then decide where that load will be applied along the beam and whether it applies to the strong or the weak axis of that target beam. We can also do the same thing for a component, right? We will see the different reactions in the different directions for the location of the beam that we are extracting from. And then we can also select a component design. In this case, we only have one component design in our project, or we can just create a new component design. Once you're in the target destination, you'll see those loads populate, and those will be automatically populated from the link. So you can see now back in the project browser, we have our floor beam GL1 links to floor joist, and our floor joist links from beam GL1. So if we open our floor joist up, we can go to beam loading, and we'll see that we have each of the load cases linked in from our source beam, and you can see those links populate here in the loading input pane. So now we have a gusset design, or a vertical brace connection design, and some of these calculations can get quite long, right? We have lots of different calculations that we have to check, lots of different equations. So what we've implemented is a table of contents and search function. So we can open this up, and you can see all of the different calculations that we have for our demand, for our capacity, right? We have our block shear, our brace tensile strength, and then we can also search for things. So if we were going to be looking for, our Whitmore section, we can search for that, click on Whitmore, and it will take us right to that calculation. And those are just some of the new features in CalcBook version 2. Over the coming weeks, we'll be going in detail into all of the new features in the new release. But for now, you can head over to calcbook.com/download and check it out.